Hello YouTube, I'm George and this is the Happy Chronicles. As you can see from the intro, I've got a flat on e-bike Bob. This is actually the second time in 350 miles and it's been the back tire both times. It's not so happy an incident. But I figured I'd take the opportunity to show you guys exactly what it takes. Luckily, it went down when I came in my driveway. I made it up to the house, just barely. I was like, what the? I was bouncing. I was like, oh no, not again. So, if you have an e-bike, there's a process to it. And on my KBO, this is the process. So let me just run it through you real quick, okay? Number one, it's very, very hard to navigate this bike in the field. I'm glad that it's here, but even then it doesn't really matter because it would have to be fixed the same way. I don't have a hoist tool that can get on both sides, so you kind of gotta do a few things. So here's the first and foremost, the wiring. Okay, so there are zip ties. You have to cut those out to get to that. You gotta be very careful. You don't want to cut into any of the, pertinent wires. I like to cut onto the side where the brake cable is because you're not going to protrude into that cable necessarily. So those two are free now, and you can see this is the connection right here. Okay, so that pulls apart, and then I've got the back. Okay, so there's the three. So now the wire is free, and basically I can pull this apart. Let me see if I can. Let me pause for a minute so I can pull that apart. Okay, so as you can see, this pulls apart. The female end and the male end. You want to be very careful. You don't want any of these pins to get damaged in the process, so you want to be careful. Okay, so next process is these are an axle. So it's an 18mm wrench that comes on both sides. And then basically what I do is I put the kickstand down and I kind of elevate it over to the left side here, and then once the bolts are loose, I can drop the wheel out. So I'm going to need both hands. I'm going to come back to you on that and show you what that process is. It's very simple. Back in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I kind of just prop it up against a bucket there. You got to be very careful when you take it apart. The derailleur is going to kind of come up. When you put that all back on, you want to make sure everything's in sync and level. So you can see pins are intact, and basically the best part of it is you don't need any tire levers or anything. You can take it right out. I fortunately have a tube. That was the original tube that has already been patched. It will go back into the bike very nicely. There are these liners. This lines up inside the bike there. They're notched. Now I'm not sure if it's just KBO that has that. I mean, I don't assume, but I'm making kind of an anticipation that most e-bikes are the same in that. You want to make sure that, oh, well, there's the culprit. Wow. There's the culprit right there. Holy crap. I'm screwed. So I'm going to pull the screw out. I'm going to pull that tube out. And we'll put that back in and we'll put it all back together. And I'll come back to you when we're back on it to ride. Shouldn't be more than a few minutes. Okay, so I got the tube out, and this is what I found. That's a screw. Now, fortunately, if I was in the field, what I've done is I've gotten a couple of cans of Fix-A-Flat. That's the thing that saved me the first time. Literally a can of Fix-A-Flat. I, as a matter of fact, have the first little spike. I made a little, so this is what protruded into the tire first time. It's some sort of piece of metal. Okay. Oh, let's not lose that. There we go. All right. So it's just, yeah. So what happened was I was on my ride and pretty much I heard this tick, 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 tick. And I was like, okay, what's that? You know, okay. And then it went away. And I rode up about another mile to see my friend and I noticed that, holy crap, my tire just went flat. Oh no. Now, I spun the tire around. This little thing right here, I couldn't see it. It was like impossible to see. So, can of Fix-A-Flat, got me home. No problem. Okay. Next day, pumped the tire up. It was a little low. Spun it and saw this in it. And I was like, oh no. So, basically, rode it into town and back real quick. It was just a quick, few miles. And then had to pull it and get a new tube. I didn't have a spare, so now I have a spare. And pretty much I'll just fix this tube and we'll have not only the spare that I carry with me, but we'll have the extra tube just sitting up here waiting for the next time. Hopefully it'll be the front flat next time. It's a pain in the ass. As you can see though, it's very easy. No tire levers needed. It just pulls off. Okay. And basically, you've got to be cautious as to how you put it back and make sure that everything shims up and all the washers and everything, because there's washers on the outside. Let me show you there. Right here. Okay. So we have the inner, which locks in, and it's just that spacer. And then on this side, we do have the guard for the derailleur. So you want to make sure that's all in place. I am going to probably put a piece of tape, duct tape, onto the inside where that hole was, just so that I don't have anything protruding from there and making it another nightmare. Because if you've got a hole in the tire, it can protrude just a tiny bit and make a hole in the tube. You don't want that. So I'm gonna fix all this, put the new tube in, and come back to you. So pretty much got the other tube in, gonna pump that up, and we're gonna get it installed on the bike. Okay, so part of the process, I just got it pumped up. We're all back together, but you want to make sure that it's seated all the way around. Even with these big tires, I had to kind of bounce it into place. And it's all seated. We're ready to put it on the bike. This is quite a daunting task even here in the shop. And I'm real good at fixing tires and tubes. Out in the field, I hope it never comes down to it, but that's why you want to have a can of Fix-A-Flat. Okay, so I've got it all back on, and I put the cable back in. Now there, on this bike anyway, there are finger grooves, for grip right here, right here. So the controller can only go in one way, okay? And you want to make sure that it's not all tangled up. Now I don't zip tie it again until I make sure that everything is good. We've got everything back on. I haven't put the caps over the bolts yet. So, got everything back on here. You got to make sure I actually got the damn thing on and the chain didn't bind up. That can happen on any bike. But here we go. We're gonna just take it for a little ride without the assist on, just to make sure it rides first. Okay. All right, so far so good. Make sure it shifts. Okay. shifting up and down. All right, so here's the real telltale. Let's turn the battery on. And all right, so we're all back on. As you can see, 339 miles on him now. Okay, so here's the real test. Let's see. Motor kicks in. Okay, another successful repair, I guess. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a e-bike curse, or whatever. Two black bag flats and 340 miles. I really don't look forward to the day I really have to replace the tube out in the field because of how much it actually takes to do so. But I carry all the 18mm wrench in the trunk. I carry extra zip ties. Now what I'll do is I'll put these caps back on. I've already tightened everything up. They're just little cover caps. They actually are more aesthetic than anything else, but you know what, why not? You want to make sure your brake is aligned too. With disc brakes, you have a, it's a pretty wide gap in there on these. It's not a big deal, but you want to make sure you don't mar the disc or anything. I actually hit it a couple times going in, so brakes are working just fine. Oh, let's put that cap on the thing. I'm a guy who likes to have a cap on his valve. All right, and pretty much all that's left is I gotta zip tie the drive cable. I mean, I don't think that it would be imperative if I didn't, but since it comes that way, I'm the kind of guy that wants it to be what it was stock. So this is my first informative video on any kind of e-bike repair, and this is probably the most difficult thing to do on an e-bike, is to replace the back tube. You can run green slime in them, but even with that, a lot of times I ride that on my Peppy, and it does save you, but with these big fat 4-inch wide 26-inch round tires, they're kind of like a motorcycle tire, so it's not the same. You've got a lot of volume in this tube, so you would have to put in so much of the green slime. It's just easier. And the problem with green slime too is you really can't patch tires with green slime in them. It makes it almost impossible. So you're really just replacing tubes. So now they're back up and running. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, I mean, it's just kind of a fix the flat informative thing. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do a video on this, but I'm hoping that maybe it'll help any of you. So thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Everybody have a wonderful day. Peace.